This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 187 of The Real Word.
Word is up. I realized my smile there was a little goofy. Like I was making it.
Was a try too hard smile.
I was trying way too hard.
Yeah, showing off those pearly whites from Nicole White.
Trying.
You have very white teeth.
I think it's just the video. I think in real life, everyone would be like, it's like the realtor photos, like you think that they're going to look one way and then they look another way. That's my teeth.
No, they're pretty white.
I'm working on it.
All right, we've got some rackets, a Marketeer. We've got a Zillow racket we're going to lead off with here in just a little bit. We've got a list of 10 must-dos in racket number 2. And then we have a celebrity-studded Marketeer of the week. Is it celebrity-studded, or did I just make that up?
I think it's like a celebrity-studded event. Okay. But I don't know that it's like, I don't know that it's studded. It's because it's only one, but
a celebrity starred Marketeer.
Maybe
That would have been a better way to frame that.
I guess.
Right.
What do you? Right? I feel like star-studded. Yeah.
There you go.
Whatever.
You go, Bobby.
I mean,
thanks for that.
Good thing he's here.
Yeah, good thing. Really good thing. All right, jumping into our favorite topic, as always, Zillow is leading off racket number 1. Lawmakers urge investigation into Zillow acquisition of ShowingTime. So when Zillow bought ShowingTime, we covered it maybe 2 or 3 times on
was
this
it that
podcast.
many? I feel like it was just once.
Absolutely. I think it was. No, because I think there was a follow-up to it at least twice. And it's been an ongoing conversation. It's been a conversation within the real estate industry and within the community of agents and brokers.
Yep.
It had some life.
Well,
to it.
we did do a follow-up because there was another company trying to release something similar to ShowingTime. Remember?
Yeah,
well, anyway.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, we've talked about it. By the way, if you want instant Zillow updates, this is always the place to get them. So make sure you're subscribed to The Real Word. Okay, so 2 Republican lawmakers have sent a letter to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, urging the agency to scrutinize real estate giant Zillow's planned acquisition of ShowingTime, warning the deal could harm homebuyers and Zillow's competitors. Okay, so in a statement, Zillow confirmed that ShowingTime deal is currently under this FTC review. The probe comes at a time when federal regulators appear to be turning up the heat on the real estate industry through appointments at the FTC and through an executive order that encouraged the FTC to exercise its rule-making authority in areas such as unfair occupational licensing restrictions. Nicole, we talked about Biden's plan to make licensing restrictions easier. Yep. Unfair trying practices. Unfair tying practices or exclusionary practices in the brokerage or listing of real estate. Okay, so, what's that mean? Pocket listings, that type of thing. And any other unfair industry-specific practices that inhibit competition.
Substantially, yeah.
Substantially inhibit. I didn't think I could get through that word. That's why
you skipped it? Oh,
I skipped.
Well, that's what I'm here for. I feel like this is a good show. Now I get to go. I did my.
If you want to know the words that I skip, we always link up these articles. This happens to be an Inman article. Andrea Brambilla just released this week. So there you go. It's an August 12th letter by these 2 a representative from the House, a representative from the Senate. Yes, both happen to be Republicans that really want to take a look at this. Nicole, does this deal, and when it was first announced, did it strike you as an uncompetitive, an unfair advantage to the competition?
Well,
I mean, acquisition?
Not initially, but we did though harp on the fact that what is Zillow doing? They're acquiring data. I mean, this was just a whole nother way for them to continue acquiring data. Do I think it's going to hurt home buyers? Probably not. But will it potentially hurt the competition? Probably, because they'll have their hands in pretty much everything. It is interesting though, because you immediately think once you hear that these 2 representatives, sort of brought this up. Was it a group of agents that brought it to their attention, or like who brought it up to them to make them then write this letter is what I'm curious about, because I would love to know what that initiative is. And again, who's really sort of behind it and who are they standing for? Obviously, in my mind, they're probably standing for an agent. But I am sort of curious about the backstory and how it got this far too.
The two representatives say they're standing not only for agents, but for the
competitor.
competition.
I
So for
totally
both.
get it. Yeah. But but again, what did Realtor.com like approach them? It's
I don't believe it would be Realtor.com. I do believe there was probably pressure from the brokerage community, right?
because we're all
National
using
Association-
ShowingTime, right?
Well, National Association of Realtors. That's one of the things that they do really well, is they've got all these lobbyists that can, go and make some noise with the Senate, with the House, and try to put pressure. And in this case, put pressure on these two representatives to put pressure on the FTC. In their letter, they pointed towards many of Zillow's acquisitions: Dotloop, Bridge Interactive, StreetEasy, Naked Apartments, also the acquisition of Trulia in 2015, which was really, Trulia at the time was Zillow's biggest competitor. They had even taken, more of the, market share for lead generation than Realtor.com. And these were all approved without conditions. So they want to start looking at these acquisitions a little bit closer. And this was a $500 million acquisition of ShowingTime. So the price tag keeps getting bigger on some of these acquisitions. They clearly wanted ShowingTime. They paid $500 million for it. And it's been very controversial in the industry. This was announced back in February, and they think that this further entrenches Zillow's consumer information advantage. Zillow is spending a lot of money on information, on data. We talked about it in last week's Real Word. Go back and look at that, where their quarterly earnings came out at $1.3 billion. They only made a $10 million profit on that 1.3 million. They're willing right now to give up profits for long-term customer acquisition, for brand building, for getting consumers comfortable with going to Zillow first, not the agent. And I've got a great example. I've been doing a little bit of back-end homework. I teased this on a previous podcast, Nicole. I've got a very close person in my life who is selling their house in another state.
Yeah,
They're
down south. You were gonna
down south.
Yes.
They're using Zillow offers,
right.
And the price tag, I don't want to really get into it until it closes and they've got the money in the bank, but the price tag that Zillow has given them,
You said was big.
it was enormous. It was $40,000 to $50,000 more than any of the comps. In fact, it was just as much as the new construction in the neighborhood, and it was all at a 1% fee. So why is Zillow buying this home $40,000 to $50,000 ahead of the comps? They're buying brand awareness. They're buying consumer data. And you know what else they're buying? Trust. What do we as agents always say?
Well, we say trust.
We always say
number one.
we need people to like us, know us, and ultimately trust us if they're going to transact with us.
Right.
Zillow is building trust. They are building/buying trust.
Well, they're definitely buying
out
trust.
They are buying it, and they're doing it with their acquisitions. If they can get closer to the transaction, like through ShowingTime, they're going to have a clear advantage in building that trust. Now, what the FTC has to decide is this an unfair advantage?
Right. How do you feel about it? You feel it's unfair?
When you describe a monopoly, I believe a monopoly is described at being over 60%. Let me look that up. What is a monopoly? What is a monopoly? Now, Zillow, if they're going to, their attorneys are going to argue, hey, Zillow's only on less than 5% or influences less than 5% of the transactions right now currently across the country. So could you consider that a monopoly? Or are they going to look at a monopoly being how much traffic they have in comparison to all these other sites? My opinion is, based off of what is a monopoly?
It's not even giving you a percentage, really. It's saying a market structure characterized by a single seller selling a unique product in the market, an exclusive possession or control of the supply of or trade in a commodity or service.
Greater than 50% has been necessary for courts to find the existence of monopoly power. I thought there was a specific number. If a company has a market share of greater than 75%, they would probably be considered a monopoly. So I think once you get into the courts, there's a little bit of a gray area. It's certainly over 50%. But I have heard a number greater than 50%. Here's this number, and I'm just Googling quickly. So
it must be over 50%, because if you're talking about exclusive possession or control, I mean, you'd have to have, some serious pull there. What the government,
So you can fact check me, and I'd love to hear your comments. What a true monopoly is, but I believe their attorneys, when they get into this situation, I mean, you asked me what I thought, but I'm just kind of going through it here to set it up. I believe the attorneys are going to say, oh, this is not a monopoly because look at all these other sites, add up all their market traffic.
Right.
We're still not at 50%, or we're certainly not at 50% of the transactions. ShowingTime, relates more to the transaction than it does, lead generation or traffic on a website.
Yeah.
Do I think it's an unfair advantage? They've done a better job than, and I've said this multiple times, than any other brokerage at building brand at scale across this country with real estate consumers. So Is it unfair? Right now, I just don't believe it's unfair. I believe they're doing a better job. I mean, to sit here and cry that it's unfair seems very participation trophy to me, and I'm not big on 11th place ribbons. I know that
you said that twice this morning already.
Yeah, I'm big on the participation trophy thing today.
You are.
Did you ever do Fun Run where you would get I was never good at country.
But I didn't run.
No,
like you had to
you walked it?
That was like a voluntary thing. Like I don't voluntarily run.
Run.
Never voluntarily run. No.
And you get like a ribbon at the end. It's like you came in 14th place. No. Like I had all these these odd colors that were not winning colors, for coming in 14th.
But you kept signing up for it. I mean, why would you?
Yeah, I was trying to get in the top 3.
Voluntarily run.
I was a big failure there.
No.
So I don't think it's unfair yet what they've done. Should the FTC be looking at it? Probably. That's what they're there. They're set up to do that.
Right.
And so we'll see what happens. We'll continue to cover Zillow on The Real Word, as always, and would appreciate your comments. And the article is linked for you to dig into more of that and what it could mean going forward. Racket number 2, Nicole. Another list. Are you ready for a list?
Well, we haven't done a list in a while, I feel like.
We'll link this up. This is an Inman article list. It's an opinion piece, 10 must-do sale preparation tasks, regardless of the market. You're seeing a lot of signals that the market is shifting. So whether you're in a good market, a less than good market, a bad market, whatever kind of market you're in, these are 10 must-do sale preparation tasks.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go through all 10 and say whether that's a racket or not.
Yep.
Number 1 is... Paint, Nicole, paint. Do you think, regardless of the market, sellers should be painting?
100%. And if you're not painting walls, you better be at least painting your trim.
Really? 100% of the time, people need paint.
100% of the time. Well, again, I mean, unless you...
I couldn't disagree more.
What? Stop it. Well,
I think there's a lot of situations where you need paint, but 100% of the time, regardless of the market...
Yes. 100%.
I mean,
yes.
There's so many homes that we can point to over the last 16 months that probably needed paint, but it didn't matter. They had 40 offers. So the paint wasn't going to make a difference.
Well, but we've talked about this with staging though, too. Will you get better offers?
Staging, because listen, the photos, the first showing.
No.
You can't tell if the paint is good or not. It's not until you get into the house. And listen,
which is even worse. It's like we were just talking about before with a real estate photo. Like you see what you thought that I looked like, and then you're pissed off, you're disappointed.
No.
And then you're deducting price. You have to paint.
And that's why I think the staging argument is valid. I got to get into the house and visualize how I can set up my stuff. Staging accomplishes that. But most buyers excited, new buyers excited about buying this home. Okay, the layout works. The floor plan's great. I can put my stuff here. I can set it up, the location. Love the location. But all it needs is paint. Oh, I'm a new excited homeowner. I can paint. I'll paint. It'll be fun. We'll get pizza and we'll paint.
Pizza? Now you're getting pizza?
pizza painting party. Everybody has pizza when they paint. Everybody knows
wait
that.
A minute.
Everybody
you
knows.
paint? You paint your own home?
Everybody knows you get pizza when you paint.
I don't paint my own house. There's
when
people
I was buying
that.
homes from 19 to 21, making very bad investments. Not like the investment you and I just made, which is a great investment. But when I was making bad investments, I used to do these pizza painting parties. I'm not going to be painting this new investment that we just got, nor will I be eating pizza at that house.
No, but I do think that paint is very important. And I bet you 9 out of 10 of those homes that are getting overlist have painted. Sorry.
All right. I'm calling Racket on that.
I'm not calling a Racket.
You're not calling. Number 2, landscaping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you dying? Are you good?
I have a tickle.
Tickle.
I have a little bit of tickle. Wait, so are we saying that, okay, so this article is everything, and it is talking about, so we do need to preface, we are talking about ROI here, like return on your investment. So
that's how they lead off the article. They're talking
yes.
about return on the investment. Yeah. Set the expectation by focusing on return on investment. So it's important as an agent to set the tone on what the return is on all these different things. And you know, this who wrote the article here, Kara Amir, is arguing that landscaping should be addressed before going on, regardless of the market. I do agree with that. You know, again, throw down some mulch, get rid of your weeds.
And
I agree too. I agree too.
Cut some shrubs. I mean, Jeepers Creepers. People are going to be driving by. I mean, I do think that it's a super easy thing. You don't even have to spend money on it. I mean, just go out there and do it yourself.
If my first showing is online, I'm likely seeing an exterior home photo first. And then I'm probably driving by before I get in the home, to your point, to see if I like the location. So your first 2 experiences with the property have to do with the curb appeal. So at least the front yard should be addressed in some way, whether it's just a cleanup, whether you do a weekend cleanup, mulch, like you said, whatever. Yep. So I agree there. Number 3, an appliance refresh.
Again, and I am happy that they at least do talk about the difficulty of finding appliances. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I bet you're looking at least 4 to 6 weeks for appliances right now if you're lucky.
Talks about that.
I do not want to wait to put my house on the market for an appliance to come in. I think you're probably better off maybe giving them an appliance credit where you're at least acknowledging the fact that you need appliances, but like to wait 6 weeks, you're going to miss out on the market. So I disagree with this. Unless you're having an agent come into your home like a year before, like maybe that's something that you're planning for.
For sure. And I'm halfway on this, to your point. If you can get the appliances, I would rank appliances over paint. Shiny new, brand new appliances over paint. So if you've got the time and you can actually get the appliances and you're going to get the return on investment, I would rank that above paint.
Okay.
Unless the place is like so bad. Like, okay, here's where I'll go back to paint a little bit.
Okay.
If you've got purple walls, then yeah, paint is at the top of the list. But if you have white walls and they're just a little bit dirty, I'm not
I'm least worried about the walls, and I'm much more concerned with people's trim. I mean, you have families or dogs. Up. I mean, it just looks worn, and it looks like
kids.
You've beaten it up. I think I said children, but
yeah, well, you said families, but my specifically toddlers. Reagan has this little.
Oh, like on wheels?
Well, she's got like her feet running on the bottom of this thing. It's like a UFO that she sits in.
Right.
I don't know the actual name of it. And she just keeps banging on the trim. Just keeps knocking my trim. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
We need to put a bubble wrap around this UFO she's walking around my house in.
Wow.
All right. Number 4. What do you think of that, Nicole?
Countertops
is that
and
a racket?
Which? The UFO? The UFO is a racket.
UFO thing. Yeah.
UFO's
Number 4, countertop sink. What do you think?
I disagree. This, in my mind, is a complete and utter racket. I think that the problem here is you're also picking countertops that you like and maybe not a prospective buyer like. So this would not be anything that I would ever, unless someone's countertops were so horrible, or you're in a certain price point. You know, again, in this market, if you're, maybe over $400,000-$500,000 and you don't have granite countertops, I think that's a huge disadvantage in something.
Or some type of stone, yeah.
Absolutely. And definitely something that you should be investing in. But I'm not going to say every time you need to update your countertops. Never.
Yeah, that's a racket. And what's a bigger racket is if you're a homeowner and what you said, Nicole, you're picking the countertop. You should have somebody like Nicole White, somebody in your local market who's an expert at design and what is trending today with the majority of the buyers. Remember, you're selling your home, so picking what you like is a really bad plan. Flooring update.
So this, I again, if we're talking about every single time,
And it states in here dated or worn carpet.
Yeah, so that I will agree with. I think that if you're not willing to replace the carpets, I do make my sellers at least get them cleaned, because I do think that having carpets cleaned can not only make them look better, but smell better too. I mean, you're talking about animals or.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be the big one. Really nasty carpet. But if you have hardwoods that just needs a refresh, it's like the paint party. Somebody can come in there and refresh.
Well, but I also think that again, I think this goes true with most things. I always like to offer out credits, so you're at least acknowledging the fact that you know that the floors need to be done, and here's a credit for you to put it towards that if that's what you choose to do. But
all right, so here's one, number 6, the roof.
Yeah.
If your seller's roof is nearing the end of its life, it's going to be difficult to get away with not replacing it when they prepare to sell. I'm calling big racket on that. So,
huge racket. No,
yeah,
I mean,
okay, there you go.
I just listed a house recently, and again, it wasn't leaking. It was fine. You know, the buyers did ask for a credit. To be quite honest, materials right now are atrocious. So to even start participating in doing a roof is crazy high. Again, this would be another situation. Take the credit, like wait for the supplies to come down in price and then do it. But I disagree. I do not think that a roof needs to happen.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
And you're not going to get I would tell you right now, you're not going to get your ROI on that.
Never.
Replacing the roof.
But what you should do is obviously disclose. Say it's at least 30 years old so that they can't come
100%.
after, after you for it. Yeah.
Number 7, heating and air conditioning.
So this one's a hard one because you kind of need heat in order to sell a home typically, and you need financing. Yeah.
So I mean, you have to have functional systems. If
Right.
you have an HVAC system that is not functioning, get it functioning. But
Right.
should you go and necessarily put air conditioning in? I mean, Nicole and I in a couple of weeks are closing on an investment property that doesn't have AC. We're going to be putting in air into that property. Now we're not doing central air. We're going to do the Mitsubishi wall units or something very similar to that,
Right.
so that there is air. If you're going to sell a resale and you're not going through the renovation process, do you need to add air condition? I mean, are you the only home in your neighborhood without air condition?
So that's the biggest
probably
thing too,
thing.
And price point too. I mean, I will say that I think that buyers now are almost demanding air conditioning now. But again, is it worth dumping $20,000 just to get a buyer to come into your house? I don't think so. I think if you're painting and making it look all frilly and pretty on the outside, I think you'll be able to find a buyer, no problem, that's then willing to just take it because it's pretty. Again, we're in the Northeast though too. So we're talking,
that's what I was just going to say that.
I mean, air conditioning, we're talking about legit maybe for 3 months tops. So
if you're in many other states in this country, then it's what are these people even talking about? AC's at the top of the list.
Well, and it's funny though, because again, you talk to people down in Texas and they don't understand heat. Why do you need heat so bad? But anyway.
So it's definitely location based and it's got to be functioning properly. So I would say, it has to be functioning. Whatever system you have needs to be functioning. Number 8, handyman fix-it. So updating old plumbing fixtures,
light bulbs,
these types of things. Yeah.
So this one, I do like this one. I have had sellers even, I've asked them to replace doorknobs and hinges if they're a little older. Again, anything that immediately pops out that a buyer would walk through and immediately start deducting price is where I hit first. And to be quite honest, these are the cheapest things for you to do. For you to get a $25 doorknob is a lot cheaper than putting in central air. So whatever you can do to sort of take away from the largest ailment, in my opinion, is where you should start sort of throwing some of the cash. So this one I do agree with.
Based on the premise of this article, regardless of market, this is a racket. Regardless of market, you don't need to change these things. So if you're in a great seller market, you do not have to change these things.
You need to have better light. Let's have at least
ridiculous.
Good light.
That is
light
ridiculous.
Bulbs.
I'm basing everything off of the regardless of the market headline here. All right, number 9. This is not a racket. This is the most important on the list. Number 9, deep cleaning, decluttering, and organizing. The most important, any market, hands down, no question about it. Number 9.
100%. I mean, this is definitely, this should be, I mean, if we're going in order, this should be 100% number one. Yes.
Regardless of market, that is a number one key thing to do. Number 10, windows. Windows number 10.
I mean, I don't
getting
even,
them clean.
I don't even clean my own windows. So I don't get it.
Remember, regardless of market, this is a racket.
I will say though that I do sometimes encourage my sellers to take out their screens because that actually makes the photos look better. And
crappy screens.
Yeah, you just take, even if they're nice screens, just take them out, store them in your garage. Again, the house looks a lot better without screens. It photographs well, and obviously, again, it's a lot less like distorted when you're in the house, so it just looks brighter. But Windows wouldn't even make my top 10. Yeah.
All right, Marketeer of the Week is actually a big-time Bravo star. Is she on Bravo? Is it Bravo or no?
No,
what is it?
That's not Bravo.
What is it?
What's Kim on? She on who? The E? She's not on E.
Oh, on E? Maybe she has her own network.
Keeping Up with the Kardashians is on E? Really? Huh. Why do we not know this?
I don't know. She's on TV, though. She's on television.
Well,
cable.
Obviously.
Cable
I mean, we do know that Kim is on TV.
She's on cable. 6 real estate marketing lessons from Kim Kardashian. Okay, let's go through the 6 and
I guess
see if
it is
there's any
E.
value here. She's got 240 million Instagram followers. So it's shocking that it took us this long to get to Kim Kardashian as the Marketeer of the Week. 70 Twitter followers.
I'm sure we've had her before.
70 Twitter followers. It says the highest in the world. I'm surprised nobody has 100 million Twitter followers. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
you're right. We did. We talked about him. Yeah, it's E. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
As Kanye, her old fling.
Well, no, I think they're still technically married. So
Yeah, but they're getting divorced.
They
I
are
believe.
getting a divorce,
So as
yeah.
Kanye told GQ magazine, in order to win at life, you need some Kim K skills. Period. So here you go. What are those Kim K skills? Turning negative into opportunity. So when things go bad, even when a deal goes bad or somebody writes a negative review, this says don't let it affect your focus, pick yourself off, dust off, learn from the experience, blah, blah, blah. I would argue that telling the story so that people don't think you're just some weird, perfect, thing on Instagram where you're vulnerable, where you're willing to show people, hey, this is the experience I had, or this is the experience a consumer had. Here's how we fixed it. Telling that story online could be really powerful. So I agree with this one. Mm-hmm. Turning negative into a positive. Being overly confident. What's your thoughts on that one?
I mean, that's just not in my DNA, I don't feel. But again, they are saying that, more people, what is it saying here? Determine that people who project themselves in an overly confident way tend to be recognized and promoted more professionally. I agree to that. I mean, obviously, who else is going to stand up for yourself or sing your praises more than yourself? But that's not even natural for me.
This is an Inman article, which we'll link up, of course. The lesson learned under this, if you read it, it says, that statement, fake it till you make it. Do that. Totally 100% racket. Totally disagree with that statement. Do not fake it till you make it. This is how you exude confidence and build trust in real estate.
Right.
A consumer asks you a question that you don't know the answer to. Love the question. That's a great question. I know exactly where to find the answer. I'm going to get you that answer within 24 hours. That's how you show confidence, not by making something up. Faking it till you make it in this industry is how you get exposed. So you can have confidence without faking it. You just know you know what to say when you get put into a situation where you don't know the answer. Mm-hmm. You have a script for that. Love the question. Great question. All of our experienced clients ask similar questions, like where your head's at. Let me go get you the answer. Or just being, knowing your scripts, training with your team, being willing to practice before you go out on the field, showings, listing appointments is going to make you more confident.
Well, we are talking about marketing here, though. So I'm assuming we're talking more about maybe video, Yeah.
So in video, literally doing lots of video is going to make you more and more confident. Doing things over and over again, practicing.
Yeah.
Doing.
Yeah.
That's what makes you confident.
Yeah.
Knowing your audience.
Yeah. You want me to respond to that one?
Know your audience.
Well,
Should you
we
know
always
your
have
audience,
to know our audience. I mean, even
Gotta
when
know your
when we're
audience.
out in day-to-day life, you need to know your audience. Are you with kids? Are you with adults? I mean, I feel like obvious. And again, even more in marketing too. You know, who is it that you're trying to attract?
Yeah.
And who and how, and obviously how is it best to be, you know, how are you going to educate them the best, in what format?
Yeah, who are you trying to speak to with this new video? Is it sellers? Is it investors? Is it agents to join your team? Who is the message going to resonate with? You should know that up front. The power of the selfie.
I mean,
the power of the selfie.
I feel
you
like
love taking selfies.
Well, I don't, but I do know that.
But you do it all the time.
Well, because selfies do
because
the
power of the selfie.
Because the power of the selfie, for sure.
People like seeing a selfie better than they like seeing
100%. They would rather see this face than a beautiful kitchen every single time. And it's funny because we actually did put that in our bathroom, like no selfies in the bathroom, but
we did,
which is provoking even more selfies
in our new office. For those listening that doesn't know what the heck Nicole's talking about, Nicole put a framed quote, "No selfies in the bathroom."
And I feel like we should pop it up because I think we've had at least four or five agents do photos with the no selfie in the bathroom selfie photo. But anyway,
pop that up, Bobby. Engage your audience. We talked about this, I believe, just recently on a Marketeer, where Jason Pantana, we were talking about Liz Novello, how she engages
was, and that was why she was Marketeer of the week.
Absolutely.
Was because of her engagement.
And Jason Pantana got the honorable mention that week because he had an Instagram post where it says, "Follow your shot," right? Like follow up with your posts and make sure you're in the comments. So definitely engage. And then it's not all about you is the last one. So I'd agree with all of this. This is all very good, basic knowledge of being able to market yourself effectively. Maybe not basic and maybe not super basic, but actually applying this is now the opportunity here.
Well, and in this situation, it's not just family, but it's teammates, it's local stores, it's local restaurants. Where did you buy your coffee? Where did you buy your shirt? Maybe taking a selfie in front of the new restaurant. I mean, definitely.
I know that we just did Chris Smith from Curator on last week's Marketeer and go check that one out if you missed it, because it's a really valuable Marketeer talking about the NCAA athletes. But he just came out with a video this week. He's putting out some great content, by the way, that talks about the change on Facebook ads, Instagram ads, the privacy rules. And at the end of that video, he really talks about what we've been saying forever on this show, building brand, because you're not going to be able to target people the same way over the next year and going forward with these new privacy laws that we have been able to in the past. So you better know your audience. You better engage your audience. You better include your audience to get people to reach out to you, because you have such a powerful brand. So, let's all put this to work. I think it's very valuable. Share this episode, please, with an agent or a broker or a team that can benefit from it. If you enjoy this type of content, really encourage you, please, to consider subscribing. And we'll see you guys here on the next one. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.